to the future," Tyler shouted, lifting my dad's 20-year-old scotch like he discovered gold in a glass. The fire crackled through the stone hearth, honey light spilling across log walls that had held our family's secrets for generations. Heat. Laughter. The smell of wood smoke and arrogance. It felt safe, almost holy. Except the man making the toast was already holding the match. "I got the final permits approved this morning," he boomed, cologne sweeping ahead of him like a fog bank. "We rip out this timber, slapping glass walls, heated floors, the works. By spring, we flip for close to 800 grand." Dad's laugh rolled warm and proud. He clapped Tyler so hard whiskey splashed the rug. Sarah's diamonds caught the firelight as she leaned into him, glowing with faith and second-hand ambition. I drank my cold coffee, watching their reflection tremble in its surface. The quiet daughter, the spreadsheet girl. Then the thought that still makes me smirk: they cheer louder when they don't own what's being toasted. Because not one person in that room knew the deed to that cabin sat in a fireproof safe 3 hours away. Signed to me. 5 years ago. Tyler loved being the headline. I'd been the fine print for too long. He leaned toward Dad again, repeating numbers, slicing the smoky air with his manicured hands. That sheen of sweat on his grin wasn't excitement, it was debt-wearing confidence like cologne. Then bzzzzz. A single vibration in my pocket, sharp as a starter pistol, completely wrong for the warmth of the room. Unknown number. Are you Lauren? I'm Antonio. I'm standing outside your cabin. Your brother-in-law owes me 18 grand. Chills crawled up my spine, cold as the whiskey in Tyler's glass. Years of forensic accounting whispered, don't react, record, verify, strike later. I gave a small smile. Just need some air. Outside, the mountain cold slapped me awake. Pine, snow, and silence. Through the frosted glass, I saw my family still lit by firelight, Dad mid-law, Sarah shining beside him, Tyler frozen mid-stir, the perfect portrait of denial. And right there, the contrast hit: warmth and noise behind the glass, truth and ice outside it. People mistake volume for value, noise for knowledge. Not anymore. The quiet one had just clocked in. That tiny buzz on my phone marked the moment our family's future slid straight off the balance sheet and deep into the red. I answered Antonio before sunrise. No emojis, no small talk. Just the essentials: address, time. Numbers, not words. By morning, the storm had quieted to a white hush. Snow thick enough to swallow tire tracks and last night's mistakes clung to the mountain road. The diner smelled of burnt coffee and thawed boots. Steam climbed from my mug like ghosts fighting gravity. My reflection in the window looked composed. Inside, my thoughts were sprinting in circles. At 9:02 a.m. sharp, a man filled the doorway. Antonio. Mid-30s, worn parka, eyes starved for sleep. He moved like someone who'd been chasing invoices through a maze and just hit the dead end. He slid into the booth opposite, calloused fingertips scraping the edge of his phone as he set it down. Its glow between us looked like evidence waiting to testify. He said open concept, he rasped. Walls came down yesterday, we thought he was the owner. Click. My whole body went still. On the screen, the great room, gutted. The hand-hewn beams my mom once traced while reading by the fire gone. Memories turn landfill. A scream built in my chest. A corner of me wanted to unleash it. But habit won. Breathe. Analyze. Proceed. Collins doesn't own that property, I said quietly, sliding my folder across the table. My voice felt like cold arithmetic with a fraction of grief I'd keep to myself. And he definitely doesn't have permission to knock down a single wall. Antonio frowned. His rough hand trembled as he opened the folder. Ma'am. That's the deed, I said. Signed to me 5 years ago. Quiet purchase. Family reasons. He blinked, trying to digest it. He owes me 18,000 for materials. I nodded. And he owes fate a much larger balance. For now, pull your crew. Send me every message he's sent. You'll get paid. That exhale he gave the one that fogged the window was pure disbelief mixed with the faintest relief. Outside, snow hissed against the glass. Inside, my anger hardened into precision. Tyler didn't want design glory, he wanted camouflage for debt. He tore our history apart because fraud photographs better than failure. I gathered the deed, dropped a few notes for the coffee and stood. This stops now. Antonio's voice followed low. Be careful. I didn't answer. The air bit as I stepped into the white. Each crunch beneath my boots sounded like a verdict being written. This wasn't just cleanup anymore, it was the calm before I severed blood from business. Because that forged permit. It carried my sister's signature. By the time my car reached the valley, the snow had receded into dirty ribbons, truth showing through the melt. I'd called Sarah early, voice steady, tone neutral. Coffee. She agreed. Too fast. We met at one of those stylish cafes built from reclaimed guilt and overpriced beans, with music just loud enough to muffle honesty. She arrived 10 minutes late, sunlight skating off her diamond ring. Still shining. Still trying. Can you believe it? She gushed. Tyler says pre-sale interest is insane. We're going to be rich, Lauren. Finally. I stirred my coffee until the spoon stopped shaking. You saw the permits. She waved it off. Ty handles all that. You know I hate paperwork. Right? Why fraudsters marry optimists? They never check the receipts. I slid a printout across the table, a scan permit stamped with her signature. She frowned. Wait. That's. He did. I said softly. He forged your name. When it collapses, you collapse with him. The color drained, then frantic devotion tried to take its place. He's managing cash flow. It's temporary. I watched hope outlast reason by one more sentence. He pawned Mom's jewelry 3 days ago, Sarah. Her mouth opened, closed. The cough noise thinned around us. He said they were insured, she whispered. They were loved, I corrected. For the first time, I saw belief crack hairline fine, but fatal. I covered Dad's debts, I said quietly. I bought the cabin to protect it. You think I'd go nuclear if this wasn't survival? Tears pulled, trembling like the coffee she couldn't lift. I took out a second mortgage, she whispered. He said it was a bridge loan. He built a bridge to nowhere. Silence hummed between us, steady, unforgiving. She reached for her phone, hand shaking. If I call him? You won't, I said. The next call he gets will start with the sheriff's switchboard. Her eyes rose, wet and wide. Lauren, you're pressing charges. I stood, slipped on my coat. I'm enforcing boundaries. As I left, the calf's warmth folded behind me, replaced by the honest chill of open air. Family ties bend quietly, but forgeries snap loud. I was done being the fine print. Time to write my own headline. The sun was trying for warmth, but never made it past polite. I drove up the mountain with the police while riding shotgun my new business partner, accountability. The cabin emerged through the trees, half rebuilt, half haunted. The restoration crew waited for a signal. I gave it. Inside, sawdust glittered in light that hadn't touched these walls in months. Antonio looked up from the timber frame, nodded once. Tyler's charm could rot here. The wood would survive. By noon, a county SUV coiled up the drive. 2 officers stepped out, snow squeaking under their boots. Behind them, Tyler arrived in a borrowed sedan. His suit was loud, his confidence whisper-thin. Lauren, he started, forcing a grin. We can talk. We already did, I said. You just didn't listen. The officers moved in. One read the warrants. Fraud, forgery, grand larceny. I expected satisfaction. What I felt was arithmetic columns finally balancing to 0. When the cuffs clicked, his last defense wasn't fire or fury. It was disbelief. Sarah, say something? He barked. She stepped from behind me, coat buttoned, voice steadier than mine had ever been. You said you could fix it, she whispered. You never said who'd pay for it. No soundtrack this time. No applause. The officers guided him to the SUV, tires chewed the snow, then he was simply gone. Dad arrived just after, slower than sirens, older than pride. His breath puffed in small clouds, the rhythm of a man recounting his regrets. I missed everything that mattered, he said. I heard the noise, not the notes. I looked at him. Then start listening? He nodded, eyes tracing the repaired beams. Your mother would have been proud. Maybe. Pride felt premature. Survival was enough. The ledger still had blank lines, but at least the math was starting to add up. Antonio cleared his throat. We'll finish the interior by spring. Should look like it used to. No, I said. Leave one wall bare. Let the scars show what silence saved. He smiled, understanding faster than any relative ever had. Outside, the sun dipped low, staining the timber orange. Warmth without performance. I poured coffee into a mug, black and honest, and stood by the window. The villains were gone, but some columns were still open. Silence had saved the legacy, now it had to teach the living. The books are balanced. The fire's out. But somewhere, Another secret's waiting for an audit. This has been Revengidiary, where silence isn't weakness, it's evidence. Subscribe to Revengidiary for more real-world reckonings and slow-burn justice stories. Share this episode with the ones who know exactly how it feels to be the quiet one who finally speaks.